Very well.
Well, that pretty much beat the sod out of how I imagined it. You ready to head back yet and share the news? Yeah, those Deshirs have been trying to destroy the city for years. Haven't managed yet.
Lords of the Assembly, I call for order. This argument gets us nowhere.
Then why these delaying tactics? I call for a vote right now. My father has one living child to assume the Aeducan throne. Who would deny him that?
Your father made me swear on his deathbed you would not succeed him.
I apologize for the interruption, Lord Steward, but the Grey Warden has returned.
We should let the Warden speak. What news do you bring?
Caridin was trapped in the body of a golem. This Warden granted him the mercy he sought, releasing him and destroying the Anvil of the Void. Before he died, Caridin forged a crown for Orzammar's next king, chosen by the ancestors themselves.
And we are supposed to trust this? The word of a drunken sot and a Grey Warden known to be in Harrowmont's pocket?
Silence! This crown is of Paragon make, and bears House Hortan's ancient seal. Tell us, Warden, whom did Caridin choose?
The Grey Warden knows nothing about us. Why would a Paragon entrust someone like this with such a weighty decision? This is ridiculous!
We've argued in these chambers for too long. The will of the Paragon is that the Grey Warden decide.
I appreciate your forthrightness, Warden. You have acted with grace through this entire torturous process.
Let the memories find you worthy. First amidst the lords of the houses, the King of Orzammar.
I will not abide by this!
The ancestors have spoken.
Would you let a surfacer decide the fate of the dwarves?
Watch out! They brought weapons!
Guards!
More enemies ahead.
Take you!
Let us end this! On while you dare! Defend yourself! Ruling you should
Begun.
I admit I did not think even Balin would defy the word of a paragon, nor that so many would follow him. But most of Orzammar has seen him for what he really is, and I trust we will bring this insurgency under control. Indeed, more than anyone but my wife, Warden, and I thank you for it. Those loyal to the throne will begin preparations for a surface mission immediately. Orzammar will fulfill its treaties. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must get to the palace and set our plans in motion. This is the staff I carried as King Endrin's second. Take it as a reminder of your place in Orzammar. I wish you luck against the Blight Warden. May we foster another 4 centuries of peace.
Your role in this election will long be remembered. Your role in this election will long be remembered, Warden.
Very well.
Grey Warden, you have impressed the best of us. If I'd heard it secondhand, I'd have called it a sodding lie. Warden, we've got a king because of you. The rest, impressive, but the Legion is grateful most for restored leadership. It frees us to fight to the Darkspawn properly. You'll have us too, indirectly. Our place is here. But when you break the Blight, we'll make sure the Darkspawn have a fine welcome home. It's more guaranteed than any servicer's had. You alone have the skill to back up your words. Each of the Legion owes our homeland a death, but if our lives are better shed on the surface, so be it. Back to Orzammar when we win, though. I'll not stay topside to lose my stone sense.
More enemies ahead.
Destroyed Harriman. Attack for Balin.
No more knocking! One more knock.
Back!
Time to get messy!
You cannot win! I started to worry.
I didn't know if you were ever coming back. Did you find any records? Any sign of the old Orton Tig? You found them? Let me see. That's my great-grandmother's name. And her husband! Oh, great ancestors, it's them! It's me! I am an Orton. Oh, thank you. I have to take these to the assembly right away. Find me there. Once these are acknowledged, I'll give you any reward.
Impressive work, Warden. King Haramont's impending coronation has been entered into the memories. Is there something more I can help you with? Your presence has been recorded in the memories. I wish you well.
Very well.
My name's Orta. After the old Orton house, they gave our seat back. And the records show which houses still owe House Orton money. One day, I will be able to properly thank you for all you've done for me. And I don't know what treasure is left, but whatever I get, you can have as much as you want. I'll have to find someone willing to look. Maybe a whole expedition. If the Tig is still there, it must have something. House Orton will not forget this kindness. Didn't that sound official?
News of the hour. Lord Balin attacks the assembly and is ignominiously slain.
At last we have a king again. I trust that King Haramont will do what is best for Orzammar.
Well, I see what sort of company you've taken up.
You've returned. With all the excitement over the new king, I never expected you to remember my poor son. Did you learn anything about my Ruck? What is it? Is he dead? Oh, please don't torment me. Crazy. Oh, ancestors, save him. I've heard of this. Lost soldiers turning on each other, eating darkspawn flesh. Is that what happened to my boy? Why didn't you bring him home? Such a good boy. Still thinking of me after all he's been through. I have to go to him. He needs me. Oh, he must be so frightened out there, so lonely. I thank you for what you've done. Even if you couldn't be bothered with more. Take this. It's my husband's masterwork, the first shield he smithed. I was saving it for Ruck, but I want you to have it. As my thanks.
I can't believe that scheming Harrimont stole the throne. Now his taxes will bankrupt us to pay for his wife's diamonds. Are you here to buy something or what? I'll take your gold. You're good for that.
It's hard to believe we have a king again. I suppose the ancestors figured the Aidukans had enough.
You are very beautiful, Morrigan.
Tell me something I do not know.
But you are always dressed in such rags. It suits you, I suppose. A little tear here, a little rip there to show some skin. I understand.
You understand I lived in a forest, I hope?
Maybe we could get you in a nice dress one day. Silk. No, maybe velvet. Velvet is heavier, better to guard against the cold in Ferelden. Dark red velvet. Yes. With gold embroidery. It should be cut low in the front, of course. We don't want to hide your features.
Stop looking at my breasts like that. 'Tis most disturbing.
You don't think so? And if it's cut low in the front, we must put your hair up. Show off that lovely neck.
You are insane. I would sooner let Alistair dress me.
It'll be fun, I promise. We'll get some shoes too. Shoes! We could go shopping together.
Give me a moment. Why, the stone. I feel like I'm about to fall off the world with all that sky up there. Strange? Strange is your wife turning out to prefer the ladies, not living in a world without a bleeding ceiling. Well, let's get moving. We're losing, daylight.
We have a king. The gold will flow again. All is well if trade is open. I'll take business over a caste I've never known any day. Someone has to. Trade with other races can dry up. We surfacers are Orzamar's lifeline. Even if we're denied a caste, the Assembly says we've turned our back on the stone, but they still use the goods we bring. Hypocrites. Maybe it'll change by the time my children are grown. Twice a year, I'm confined to a trade stall in the Commons, but I see enough. It's very closed in. My grandfather says I've lost my stone sense. I was born topside. I don't remember having it. Best of luck to you.
You heard about all those mages in Lake Callanheart? They up and turned into a pack of demons.
No. Did the Templars kill them at least? No? Yes?
Ah, you want to see some of the best previously owned equipment in Thedas, friend? Oh, of course. And remember, everything's covered by Farron's 24-hour lifetime guarantee.
More likely working with the Dark to take us over.
You're awake. Did you feel it too? It was like the archdemon saw us. Saw us! What does that mean? I think... Wait. Did you hear that?
The Darkspawn have sensed us.
Another vanquished.
I guess it's like Duncan once said. We can sense them, and they can sense us. We'd best be more careful from now on. This camp isn't safe any longer.
What will they send next? Darkspawn tax collectors?
Fortification should be built around the camp.
Yeah, I can't get a bloody night's rest.
How unnerving.
It will be more difficult to sleep here now.
What, no trap? No ambush? Huh. Some assassins.
I was just thinking about what happened to the elves, and I'm reminded of a song sung to me many years ago. It was when my mother died, and this wise elven woman comforted me and told me that we shouldn't fear death or hate it. Death is just another beginning. One day, we must all shed our earthly bodies to allow our spirits to fly free. It's a beautiful sentiment, I think. One that brings peace and hope to the grieving.
Come to talk to old Ogren, have you? Don't know why. Nothing. I'm fine. Just, I got a hornet in my eye is all. Did you want to talk about something? You want to be a berserker? Thought I'd never see the day. I'll teach you. Just be ready. To be a berserker, you have to face your own inner rage. Let the spirit of battle take over. And all that dust. There's a whole pile of philosophical rot that goes behind it. But the bedrock is this. Get real mad and kill things. What the sod is there to know? You get mad, you fly into battle, and things die. It's pretty simple. The hard part is getting in touch with your rage. We all learn to hold that back. It's why we don't kill every duster who looks at us sideways. You need to shut that off. For some people, being in battle is enough. But others have to think about something. Violence, monsters, nobles, your wife, whatever. Aye, especially my wife. Well, for most berserkers it does. Several years ago, I worked with a berserker on one expedition who just couldn't work himself up. We had to kick him in the stones before he could get going. Why not? When you fight, you get mad. By the stone, it's a sodding tactic to enrage your enemy so he makes a mistake, right? Berserkers grab that anger and drink it like it's yesterday's ale. Then we turn it against our foes and watch the limbs fly. Well, for most berserkers it does. Several years ago, I worked with a berserker on one expedition who just couldn't work himself up. We had to kick him in the stones before he could get going. I can teach you what gets my hackles in a twist, but no one can tell you what'll set off that killing rage in you. Finding that is the key to berserking. Once you got that, I tell you, the ladies love it when you're all mysteriously angry for no reason. Trust me. You're a quick study, Warden. You must have been seriously steamed up about something for a long time. Aye, all right then.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. And why not? There are many things to enjoy about being a crow in Antiva. You are respected, you are feared, the authorities go out of their way to overlook your trespasses, even the rewards are nothing to turn your nose up at. As for the killing part, well, some people simply need assassinating. Or do you disagree? Now there's an interesting word, innocent. How many men do you know who can claim to be truly innocent? But if you're talking generalities, such as children and relatives and bystanders and such, never on purpose. But it happens. It's unfortunate, but death comes to us all. If not me, then some wasting disease, or a fall down the stairs, or at the hands of a darkspawn. It's all relative in the end. Death happens, as we like to say. And when I get paid for it, death happens more often. As far as enjoying the act of killing itself, why not? There is a certain artistry to the deed, the pleasure of sinking your blade into their flesh and knowing that their life is in your hands. It is not pleasure, per se, nothing sexual. It is more a sense of satisfaction, a feeling of power. Does that make sense? No matter. There are many things I did not enjoy about being a crow, of course. Having no choice, being treated as an expendable commodity, the rules, oh, so many rules. But simply being an assassin, I like it just fine. I will continue to do it if I can, even if I am not a crow. Honestly, could you picture me doing something else? None that I wouldn't get into trouble for performing publicly. Of course, all these thoughts are moot. Chances are still good that you and I will perish, eaten by darkspawn or slain by the crows at some point. Very gruesomely, I imagine. But it is pleasant enough to chat about. Come, let's move on while our boots still have some wear in them. I shall treasure it. Thank you.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
What do you need? Yes, me too. And I got the feeling at the end there that it saw us, was aware of us, whatever you want to call it. Could have just been my imagination, I suppose. What do you think? You know how some people want to be right all the time? Me, not so much. I guess one thing is certain at least, isn't it? It's official. This is a blight. I could get used to this, you know?
Yes. I am hardly surprised. Very well. Speak, then. Isn't it the nature of a wound to bleed? I have no more answers than you. Why do we fight the Darkspawn? Why do the Darkspawn fight us? You are. Why do you fight? In the Antam, we are told of the enemy. Assume he loves as you love, hates as you hate, and fights just as hard as you. It's a lie, of course. But does that matter? so long as you stand and believe you know your enemy. The Tal Vashoth wish us dead, and we wish to go on living. The point of our war is war. As you wish. I am impressed. My thanks.
So, tell me, how did you become a Grey Warden? Arl Rendon Howe? The Arl of Amaranthine? Why would he do such a thing to you? You are the last of the Kuslands? I had no idea. My lord? No, not nothing. You are a Grey Warden, one of the last of the Ferelden Wardens. We depend on you now. Take heart, dear friend. You survived, even when you were not expected to. We do not know yet what lies in store for you, or the name you carry. It is not so bad, is it, being a Grey Warden? Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to. That it will be all right. You were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant to be.
Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind? My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it. She had served Cecily, the Lady Cecily, for many years and was loyal to her. Cecily was a good person. She was always kind to me. Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother. She was an elderly lady, very refined and proper. She had impeccable manners and taste, more so than a lot of Orlesian ladies. Cecily was also kind. My mother was unmarried and with child. It was scandalous, and Cecily had every right to turn my mother out. She didn't. Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dried flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andrastis Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on. That's a wonderful...
So, full of questions, are you? Now I have enough time to study Mother's grimoire to find a way to prevent her from stealing my body in the future. For she will be back. One day, I have no doubt of that. And if I cannot protect myself, one day I will track her down again in whatever body she inhabits, and she will die again and again if need be. But there is no need to think of such things now. I have you to thank for saving me, so let us return to the task of dealing with the Darkspawn, no? You should not be so... You have no idea what will happen in days to come to make such promises. Let us go. There is much to be done before... There is still much to be done. Indeed.
Indeed.
Yes.
My men have scouted the tower. It's a mess, but the abominations are gone. You are very thorough. I'm impressed. I shan't keep you then. Farewell.
There is one thing I do not understand, Alistair.
Just the one thing.
About you, perhaps. Why the deception over your parentage?
I'd figure you'd be the sort who knows all about deception.
I do. And what use the deception might have had ended when King Cailan perished, did it not?
Maybe. I guess I was sort of hoping that would go away.
The truth does not go away.
I didn't say it was a good plan.
I think we will be all right now, thanks to you. The children are already a lot calmer.
Oh, come, swift sword, and deliver me that I might find the Maker again.
You've rested enough. We need to get these out of the tower before they get fragrant.
Touching those abominations. It's wrong.
Someone has to do it.
Why do we have to take them across the lake to burn? The lake's right there.
I shall do it. It is begun.
I wish I could have gone with them. To fight.
Very well.
I think we'll be all right now, thanks to you. The children are already a lot calmer.
Yes?
Welcome back, friend. You'll be glad to learn that the Circle is well on its way to recovery. Orzammar, indeed. You have piqued my curiosity. It is common knowledge that dwarves lack the aptitude for spellcraft. She will never be able to weave the simplest magic, no matter how hard she tries. Fascinating. I suppose the Circle should be flattered. I see. If she is willing to sacrifice so much for this, then we should feel honored. Tell Dagna of Orzammar that this path will not be easy. But if she chooses it, then she is welcome here at the Circle. She will live and study with the Tranquil, and perhaps the apprentices, when it is appropriate. If only the Circle was in better shape. I fear she may be disappointed when she arrives. This will be interesting. She could tell us much about our dwarven neighbors. Yes, the more I think about it, the more I like the idea. I shall take this as an indication that perhaps things are starting to look up for the Circle. Thank you. You've already done much for the Circle. Now you must see to your duty as a Grey Warden. I wish you well. Know you will always be welcome here.
Concentrate, like we practiced. Now, fire!
I shall do it. Maintain.
I never liked it.
I'm taking these apprentices to Redcliffe. The first enchanter says you need every able-bodied mage for the war. They're young, but capable enough, as you saw.
Hello, how can I... It's you! And it's been, well, quite a while. Enough time to get to the circle and back, I hope. Oh, please tell me what they said. Ancestors, bless you! I can't believe it! There hasn't even been a dwarven observer in the circle since Urelden in the 13th century! I need to pack. No, my parents would get suspicious. I need to go. Is there anything I should bring? Books? Tuition? Then I should go before my parents come looking for me. If you ever go to the circle again, maybe I'll see you there.
It shall be done.
So, this thing you and him have going, doesn't that violate your vows?
What? What kind of question is that to just blurt out? What do we have going?
Yes, I'm that blind. I so totally did not see you ogling each other before.
He was not ogling me, was he? Was he really ogling me?
Now that you say it, I'm not sure. Maybe he wasn't ogling you. I don't know. I could always ask him.
You can't do that. Could you? You couldn't do that.
I could, but I won't. Next thing you'll have me pulling his hair and passing him love letters.
Just mind your own business. How inappropriate.
Now you fall! It shall be done.
Done.
It is begun. I shall do it.
You'll have to forgive me if I seem a bit nervous. Not many people travelling in this part of Ferelden. Of course, that's part of my problem, isn't it? Mule got spooked by a wisp and ran off into the woods. Now what do I do? Waiting for my helper to find the damn mule, of course. It's freezing! Oh, I suppose you meant, why am I out here? As in this part of the country. Allow me to introduce myself. Felix de Grosbois, merchant and entrepreneur at your service. I don't normally take this route, but with the war, I was hoping for a bit of luck and good weather in the mountains. Sadly, I've had neither. Ugh, this trip has been one miserable disaster after another. I don't suppose you'd consider helping a fellow out? Of all the other things that went wrong, the worst is this artifact I brought in Jada. It's a control rod, I'm told, for a golem. No point in me keeping it, however, as I'll never get to use it. But, maybe you could? The dwarf I brought it from said it activates and controls a golem. So long as you have it in your hand, the golem does what you say. Might be useful, no? I mean, you look like the sort who could use one, yes? The fellow I brought it from is a long-standing contact. He didn't want to come to Ferelden, however, with all our troubles. He said he got it from the man who owned this golem. But to be honest, I have no idea if it will work. Hence the low price. What do you say? The catch? Yeah, I suppose it is a catch, isn't it? The catch is that the golem didn't come with the rod. It's supposed to be down in a village down south, waiting to be activated. Even if I could get down there, which I can't, I understand the place has been overrun by darkspawn. That's not such an issue for adventurous types like yourself, surely? Or I'm hoping that's so, at least. Nothing. I just don't want to have to lug around something that might be taken for a gemstone by some bandit. To be honest, I don't even know if it'll be useful to you. I paid too much to simply throw it away. Just as well. As I mentioned before, you'll find the golem down south, in a town called Honleith. I'll mark it here on your map. Just hold up the rod and say Dulaf Gar. That will wake the golem up, so I'm told. I hope it works. Maybe you could look up the fellow who owned the golem before. If he's still about, that is. Best of luck to you then. Now, I guess it's up to me to find that mule myself.
As you say. has begun. Begun. Very well. Now we do battle.
You cannot win!
Very well.
It looks like a golem, doesn't it? An actual golem, and not a statue at all. I wonder how it ended up here, of all places. Yes?
Of course.
As you say.
Of course.
I shall do it. As you say.
We must fight. Let us do it quickly.
Is that all you've got?
Good. Another down.
Very well.
Victorious!
As you say. It is begun.
By the Maker, we're saved!
You weren't sent by the Ban, were you? To save us? A Grey Warden? Here! Thank the Maker for our luck! But if you weren't sent by someone, why are you here? If you don't mind me asking. A merchant? Why would a merchant... Oh. Think I see. This is about Shale, isn't it? I should have known. That damnable golem brought us nothing but trouble. My mother sold the rod years ago after it killed my father, and good riddance! My father's name was Wilhelm, mage to the Arls of Redcliffe and a hero in the war against Orlais, and what did he get? One day, my mother found him outside the tower, with so many broken bones she could barely recognize him. And Shale standing over him, just like it is now. My father deserved better than that. But if you really want to wake Shale up, well, it's yours now. This was my father's laboratory, beneath his tower. Or it was, anyhow. Look, I know you probably have more important things on your mind, but I really need your help. I know you already saved my life, and I'm grateful. But my daughter is inside the laboratory. She was afraid and ran too far in before I could stop her. I don't know how she made it past my father's defenses. One of the men tried to go after her. He was killed, but you could find her, couldn't you? You will? Thank the Maker! My father's laboratory is just past the next area, I think. She has to be there. Why won't she come back, or at least yell out? I don't understand! I was so young when he died, I hardly remember. All I know is he was a fine mage and a healer. What he needed this laboratory for, or why the Circle of Magi let him be out here, I honestly have no idea. Almost nothing. It used to be bigger, I think. Aside from that, it was just a walking statue. Father said it talked, but I never heard it. Mother tried to have it destroyed, but no luck. I think that's when she sold the rod, but no one ever came to claim it. Not really. We never came down here after my father died. My mother was too frightened. The barrier was supposed to keep most people out, and those who got past it dealt with whatever lies ahead. I can only imagine what my father was doing that he needed to be so careful. I'm not sure I want to know. How to activate it? We just used the control rod and the code phrase. Or did Mother give them the wrong one? I wouldn't be surprised. She said she never wanted to see Shale activated again. Bring back Amalia and I'll gladly tell you the proper phrase, if you really want it. Please hurry!
As you say. Very well.
What do you mean you've never climbed a tree? Don't cats like to be in trees? Oh look, someone's come to play. You have come to play, haven't you? We're playing a guessing game. It's better with more people. Father? Oh, you can tell him I'm fine. Maybe he'll come and stay with us, too. Anyway, you should go if you're not going to play. Kitty finds you distracting. I can't go. Kitty says she can't come, and I'm not leaving her. She'd be lonely.
You are so kind, Amalia. I would miss you dearly if you left.
No! Leave me alone! Kitty!
Nothing you say will convince Amalia to go with you. She loves only me now. I am her friend, while you are just a stranger. I have done nothing. I am all but powerless. The mage made sure of that, didn't he? I cannot leave this chamber. No, Amalia found me. After decades of isolation, her company is welcome. It seems we are at an impasse, so let me propose a compromise of sorts. Release me, mortal, and let me have the girl. Let us return to her father and leave this place forever. That's such a crude way of putting it. I do not wish to harm Amalia. I merely want to see your world through her eyes. Is that so wrong? Thank you. You are very gracious. The mage's wards hold me within this chamber, and only a mortal may approach them. There is a trick to disarming the wards, but I do not know it. Perhaps you will succeed where the girl failed.
Oh, this is so exciting! Kitty is going to be free! I've always wanted a cat, and Kitty is so perfect and... pretty. I like it when Kitty sings to me.
I am still trapped. What is the matter?
Father doesn't like cats, but he never met Kitty.
It shall be done. Very well.
Kitty says Grandpa Wilhelm locked her up in this room. Isn't that awful? Kitty is my best friend.
It has begun. As you say. Very well.
I was
I shall
thinking
do it.
about the sun, silly.
It has begun. It has begun.
Tell me a story. Oh, it's a flower. Is it a daffodil? I like daffodils.
As you say. Very well.
Tell me a story.
Very well. It shall be done. I shall do it. It has begun. As you say. It has begun. It shall be done. It has begun.
Oh, it's a flower.
Very well.
Is it a daffodil? I like daffodils.
I shall do it. As you say. As you say. It shall be done.
Oh, it's a flower. Is it a daffodil? I like daffodils.
As you say.
Father doesn't like cats, but he never met Kitty.
Very well. It shall be done. As you say. I shall do it.
I was thinking about the
shall be
sun,
done.
silly.
It is begun. It is begun. As you say. Very well. It shall be done.
I like it when Kitty sings to me.
As you say. Very well. Very well.
Tell me a story.
It shall be done. It is...
Yes. I can feel the magic fading. Oh, I had forgotten how it feels not to be caged.
Kitty? What's happening?
A wonderful thing, my dear, for both of us. Betrayal! You will not take the girl. She is mine!
Kitty! You're scaring me! I won't let you inside me! I won't!
I cannot be defeated.
Best be wary! There is no glory in bloodshed!
Wipe them out!
You did it! You freed her! Thank you so much!
I'm sorry I ran away, Daddy. I was so scared.
It's all right, Butterfly. You're safe now. All the bad creatures are gone. The phrase to activate Shale is Doolan Han. If you still want that bloody thing. I wouldn't if I were you. Now we should go, and quickly.
Thank you again. We owe you our lives.
I knew that the day would come when someone would find the control rod. And not even a mage this time. Probably stumbled across the rod by accident, I suppose. Typical. It thinks these crystals are simply for show, I see. Huh. I stood here in this spot and watched the wretched little villagers scurry around me for, oh, I have no idea how long. Many, many years.
Oh, you poor dear. That would be really, really boring.
And the villagers had no idea they were being watched. Creepy.
Then one wonders that you wouldn't be grateful to the one who allowed you to stretch your legs, Gollum.
Another mage, I see. Charming. I was just beginning to get used to the quiet, too. Tell me, are all the villagers dead? Familiarity breeds contempt, as they say, and after 30 years as a captive audience, I was as familiar with these villagers as one could possibly be. Not that I wish their fate on them, no. But it did make for a delightful change of pace. Still better than dull. Well, go on then. Out with it. What is its command? Did I? I honestly don't remember. Perhaps it was after yet another time he called me Gollum. Gollum, fetch me that chair. Do be a good Gollum and squash that insipid bandit. And let's not forget, Gollum, pick me up. I tire of walking. It does have the control rod, doesn't it? I am awake, so it must. I see the control rod, yet I feel... Go on, order me to do something. Then order me to stop, or go away, or just order me, please. And, nothing. I feel nothing. I feel no compulsion to carry out its command. I suppose this means the rod is broken? I suppose if I can't be commanded, this means I have free will, yes? It is simply, what should I do? I have no memories beyond watching this village for so long. I have no purpose. I find myself at a bit of a loss. What about it? It must have awoken me for some reason, no? What did it intend to do with me? Ah, how unexpected. Yet refreshing. I suppose I have two options, do I not? Go with it or go elsewhere? I do not even know what lies beyond this village. Yes, very likely. I watched this village for so long, unable to move or act. My memories of anything before are vague at best. So I have no idea what I want to do. I'm glad to be mobile. Is that not enough? I have no idea. How does it trust anything else without a control rod? Fair enough. Then I promise not to sit on it accidentally or without sufficient provocation. Good enough? Did I? I remember that I had a former master. The mage with the furry brows who poked and prodded and barked orders. Did I kill him? I hope I did kill him. Perhaps the last order he barked was, "Gollum, stop crushing my head." Ah! Yes, I'm just funny that way.
Are you certain you want to bring that thing with us?
It could be dangerous and large.
Good point. Better it than me, anyhow.
I will follow it about then. For now. I am called Shale, by the way. This should be interesting.
Blood and damnation.
Yes.
here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Well, the Crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training. The sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field. Within the Crows, I did. But it has been something the Crows have devoted a great deal of time to perfecting. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler. Then I don't imagine an assassin's life would be one for you. Of course, the Crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we? Hmm?
You know, maybe this isn't the best time to be thinking about this, but I've something to ask you. Chances are we'll be heading to Denerim soon. And when we're there, I wonder if we might be able to look someone up. I'm not talking about a friend, exactly. And no, it's not that sort of friend either. The thing is, I have a sister, a half-sister. I told you about my mother, right? She was a servant at Redcliffe Castle and she had a daughter. Only, I never knew about her. I don't think she knew about me either. They kept my birth a secret, after all. But after I became a Grey Warden, I did some checking and, well, I found out she's still alive. In Denerim. She's the only real family I have left. The only family not also mixed up in the whole royal thing. I've just been thinking that maybe it's time I went to see her. With the Blight coming and everything, I don't know if I'll ever get another chance to see her. Maybe I can help her. Warn her about the danger, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about her except her name and where she lives. Her name is Goldana, and I think she remarried but still lives just outside the alienage. If we're in the area, then, well, it's worth a look. Is that for me? Really?
Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind? Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of her hubris. Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais. A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered. Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the Grand Melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat. The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier. I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth? Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men? Flemeth, mother of witches? Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists? Well, if Flemeth really exists, she would be very, very old indeed. Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you. Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love. Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds. Which one? I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in a land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish. Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker. Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hysarion of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burnt at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter. The Tevinter Chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hessarian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure. Oh, how dear of you.
I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you? There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others, about serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men. As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they. A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant. If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome.
Orzammar has sent her best, Warden. It has been a long time since the Dwarven army has marched on the surface. Outfitting any army on short notice, there's always room for more gear. Gems would serve the most utility. The Middlestone, sapphires and the like. We're dealing with many smaller foundries, and larger values might overwhelm.
Pull up a drink, Warden. Join me in my sodding hole. Nah, just tired is all. Did you want to talk about something? What about? Oh, sure, I'm fine with it. I mean, she was a real firebrand between the sheets, but a bit soft in the skull, you know what I mean? Explains why she left, anyway. Oh, you don't know her. She was cracked like a glass floor. Before she was a paragon, I mean. After that, she really fell apart.
I mean, she leaves me and flits about with that water-tart Hespith. What's she got that I don't? Just the thought of the two of them together, kissing and licking and intertwined on the floor of the deep roads. I'm just gonna go back to the tent for a moment. Excuse me.
By my ancestors.
Yes. Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. As you wish. I am impressed. My thanks.
I see it found some augmentation crystals. I was not even aware it knew about them. Well done. So, what does it think? They don't make me look any wider, do they? I find I'm already too wide as it is. Spoil sport. I think they're lovely. I think it should find some more as soon as possible. I want to glitter from ear to ear, so to speak. I have a question for it, if it will indulge me. My understanding is that it encountered the smith named Caradin, he who was responsible for the creation of the golems, that he had become a golem himself. What I do not know is what became of him. Why did he not return with it? I would have many questions for him. He killed himself? Ah, I would doubt it, but no, I see it is telling the truth. May I ask what became of the Anvil of the Void, assuming that it too still existed? Then it was no doubt for the best. With Caradin also goes any chance I might have had of finding answers on my past, I assume. Tell me, did it find out anything from Caradin? Anything at all about how I might have been made? Meaning that I was once a living creature? That seems highly unlikely, and more than a little insulting. Is it certain? Was I forced into this? Or simply glad to abandon a frail body? And more importantly, who was I? I simply must know. I cannot help but believe that answers lie elsewhere in the deep roads. We must look. Yes, no, I don't know. If it can search the deep roads, I may remember something. If not, then I will have to wait. Ooh, shiny.
Enchantment? Enchantment!
Hmm? So, full of questions, are you?
You are very cute to ask so many questions. Really? Perhaps we should be wrapped in ribbons and adorned with flowers. So cute are we, too. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more. I found the game fun. I was too young to understand the truth behind what was happening. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom. It was a game, and I a young girl. If I didn't get to play, I would have been very upset. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum. You do not know? The Zealots use that word for any magic they do not control. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates. And apostates could become maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit. I will note that we only ever defended ourselves, but if they wish to come for us, certainly. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand. What have you there? A mirror? It is just the same as the mirror which Flemeth smashed on the ground so long ago. It is incredible that you found one so like it. I am uncertain what to say. You must wish something in return, certainly. I have never received a gift. Not one that did not also come with a price attached. Perhaps there is a price to pay yet, hmm? If so, 'tis deserved. Thank you. Truly.